All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Um, I know it's been a while. Hey, listen, if it's your first time here, go ahead and subscribe, share the video, like the video. Also, most importantly, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about it. All right, think about the chart and who we're doing today. The both individuals that we're doing today. So, look, just leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. All right. Today we're going to be talking about Remy Ma and Papoose. All right. Now listen, these two individuals have, of course, been in the news cycle. Of course, for all the wrong reasons and shit. So, but look, we're going to take a look at their relationship in a way, okay, from an astrological perspective, okay. Not too deeply. It's so much to unpack with their whole entire relationship and marriage because they did things unorthodox. Okay, so they did things that was kind of unconventional, the way they got married or whatnot. So we're gonna look at that and look at the effects and see what happened and why they're in the situation they're in right now. Okay, so first of all, let's just take a look at Remy Ma's chart. All right, now listen. Again, for the record, we do not know the birth time of these two individuals. Okay, so we're not going to be talking about the houses or the area of life, but we're going to talk about the relationship in relation to their astrological pattern and planetary alignments. Okay, we're going to talk about their planetary alignments in relation to their relationship. Okay, and you can do that if you don't have a birth time. I'm not about to rectify the charts or anything like that because, of course, they're not paying me. All right. So not about to take time out to do it. And look, I could be at this chart for hours. Okay. Not rectifying it, but just looking at different areas of their life. But we're not here for that. We just really kind of looking at the planetary alignments of their relationship and stuff like that. And I'm trying not to make it a long video, but just looking at the planetary alignments alone, I could be on it for hours without even their birth time. So, but let's just kind of take a look at her chart first. All right. So, if you're taking a look at her chart, I know it's hard for sometimes for you to see this. I'll make this a little bit better in time coming. So, first of all, she was born May 30th, 1980. Okay. So we do see that. All right. I'll put the time at 12 p.m., of course, at noon because the sun is up high then. So now we know that her sun is at 9 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so let's just take a look at that. We're not going to take too much time on the individual charts, but I'm going to point out some things about their chart that created the situation they're in. Okay, in the natal charts. All right, so we see that she has her sun at 9 degrees of Gemini. So, Mercury's at 27, which is really good. All right. So she's a thinker. Okay. She talks a lot. I mean, I seem like she talks a lot, but yes, she does. All right. We may not see that a lot, but she has she has a nice little stellium in Gemini. All right. So very talkative. Of course, she can rap and all. She has some very good aspects about that. I'm not going to get into because I don't want to prolong the video. But one thing I do want to point out about her chart is the Mars aspect to her sun. It is absolute. Okay, it is at 9 degrees also of Virgo. Okay, it's at 9 degrees of Virgo and it's squaring her sun. All right, so keep that in mind because she got locked up, right? For what? Shooting somebody. Okay, so Mars, of course, rules anger, rules guns, rules shootings. Okay, so that's completely squaring her sun. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so we always talk about Mars and the sun. If his sun is right by Mars and stuff like that, they're gonna have anger issues. They're gonna have a quick temper. They're not gonna be able to control their anger because Mars rules anger, rage, fights, war, all that. All right. So just keep that in mind because she's very violent. All right. And it can go both ways, okay? Because they're Gemini, all right? So, she's mental, but that Mars in there with Virgo like that, it's a calculated, all right? It's kind of calculated. It's particular, all right? But she can just change her mind and snap just like that, okay? With that square to Mars, all right? So another thing I want to point out is this about her chart. The Venus in Cancer, all right? She has Venus in Cancer. It's retrograde, okay? Now, for all my seasoned astrologers or students, and this is how you learn astrology, okay? You have to experience astrology in order to learn it, all right? So throughout the years, as you begin to learn this stuff, as you begin to learn this craft, and you're going to see people with Venus retrograde. And over the years, through experience and also through dozens of charts, I've seen Venus retrograde. And when someone has that particular planetary construct, they take love for granted, okay? And this is what she's doing right now, okay? She's taking love for granted. Now, mind you, it's at 1 degrees of Cancer, okay? And it's retrograde, so it's going back to 0, okay? And what do we say about critical degrees? 0 is a critical degree, and 29 is a critical degree. 0 is a critical degree because it's what? It's premature, okay? So it doesn't know enough, all right? So her Venus is at 1 degree, so she doesn't know enough about love, right? All right? She doesn't know a lot enough about family and stuff like that, because that Cancer, of course, it's all about nurturing. It's all about family, paternity and maternity and stuff like that, nurturing children, family. So she is going backwards. Okay, that love is going backwards. So that's the reason you're gonna begin to see that. Okay, and you're gonna see this in a lot of charts going forward, dealing with celebrities. They're no different. They still have planetary alignments. All right, so I just wanted to point that out as we continue. Okay, you're gonna notice that people who have Venus retrograde, they take love for granted. All right, and this is what's going on right now. All right. So now were they compatible? Well, let's just take a look. All right. We're gonna take a look and see if they were compatible. Okay. I would say this: he just chose the wrong person. Unfortunately, it's in her. She was designed to take love for granted. Okay. And with that retrograde, you have to repeat. You have to learn a lesson. Okay, so she has to repeat it. That's what retrograde is all about, repeats. Okay, so she's gonna have to learn that lesson. She hasn't learned that lesson yet. Okay, and she's repeating it right now. Okay, she didn't learn it early on because she wasn't in a constant relationship. She wasn't in a long-term relationship earlier in her life. So, but Papoose came along, and guess what? She's in a long stable relationship, but she's learning that lesson now. So she's gonna have to learn this lesson. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right. So just kind of looking at both of their charts together, looking at the planetary alignments. All right. Now, yeah, they got some good chemistry going on. Okay. Got Mars at 22 degrees of Cancer. That's Papoose's Mars. His chart is on the outside. So his Mars is trining her Uranus at 22 degrees of Scorpio. So they had good sexual chemistry. That's good. All right. Really good. Also, they got, it's a nice trine, actually. He has a trine with her Uranus. Again, it's a separating aspect with Venus. So that's good with her Uranus. That's really good. One thing I want to point out, they had good communication too. Good communication. So that's really good because his Jupiter in Gemini is on top of her Mercury. So they got, they got good communication. They talk, they can talk, good chemistry. So that's really good. All right. That's really good. One thing I want to point out is his Saturn. Okay. His Saturn is in Leo. It is retrograde. Okay. So that's authority. Okay. That's kind of having authority in a relationship, or, he didn't have that. Okay. And we're going to get to that a little bit later. Okay. Not trying to prolong the video, but another thing is that I want to point out is his Neptune. Now, as you know, Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. Okay. So his Neptune in Sagittarius is actually making a conjunction absolute, meaning at the same degree to her moon. All right. So, but it's, like I said, we don't have a birth time, but I guarantee you that moon is probably at somewhere between 17 or 19 degrees. Okay. So it's going to make a conjunction, which is good. Okay. So that's a nice conjunction with her moon. All right. So we'll say that. All right. So let's quickly, we're going to take a look at Papoose chart as well. So as we know, he's born March 5th, 1978. Now, so we know he's a Pisces. All right. So look, his sun, all right, his sun is at 14 degrees of Pisces. Now he does have Mercury right here, right by the sun. Yep, we talked about combustion, and Mercury is debilitated, unfortunately. It's in its detriment in Pisces. All right, so yeah, he knows how to think, he knows how to rhyme, but in terms of people pulling up wool over his head, sometimes he doesn't see that. All right, so he has Venus in Pisces, which is really damn good because it's exalted in Pisces. So this man knows how to love. All right. So he's trying to teach her how to love. Because remember, her Venus is what? It's at 1 degrees of Cancer, retrograde, going backwards. So she doesn't know how to love. She takes love for granted. So he's trying to teach her, but is she listening? Probably not, right? Because she's taking love for granted. All right. So he's trying to teach. But he's just, you can't change her, okay? Well, she's changeable, but that's if she chooses to change, right? So a lot of times, he tries to force her to change, but that ain't happening, all right? So now, yeah, but he knows how to love. He's good at it. Now, in terms of long-term relationships, yeah, he has Juno and Capricorn, which is really good. That's good for long term because it gives you that longevity. So, and also his Juno is trining, which is a good thing. It's trining his part of fortune at 20 degrees of Taurus. Now it is a separating aspect, but that's good to have that part of fortune in there connecting to it like that. That's really good. All right. So he can be in long-term relationships. He's designed for it. That's good, right? He's just hooked up with the wrong woman to have it, all right? Unfortunately. Now, what we're going to take a look at right now, which is the most important thing, we're going to look at their relationship from when it started. All right, we're going to look at the wedding vows because after she got locked up, right? Of course, he wanted to get married to her, so they took wedding vows first, okay, on May 12th, 2008. So let's just take a look at that date, okay, and the planetary alignments that's going on during that time, all right? All right, so, and this is very important right here too. The nodes of the moon. Okay, the nodes of the moon. You guys have to make sure you understand the nodes of the moon. Okay, the nodes are very, very important. Okay, you got the south node and you got the north node. Okay, just to be frank with you, it's plenty of definitions and plenty of, interpretations of the north and south node. Okay, you choose. All right. But we're going to speak in terms of relationships right now. So the north node, of course, is the future. It's all about the future. Okay. All right. So the south node, of course, it's about the past life, stuff like that. All right. So So when you're looking at the relationship dynamics, you want to make sure those nodes are good and you got good aspects going to the nodes. Unfortunately, when they took their vows, guess what? Those were not good aspects. Okay, we got the sun at 22 degrees of Taurus. Okay, now let me just say this as well. Okay, whenever we look at relationships, always keep this in mind, especially marriages, because that's what we do on this channel. We look at why people broke up or why people are still together and how they have good relationships with each other. Okay, so just keep in mind, fixed signs support endurance. They're very desirable for long-term commitments, such as marriages and stuff like that, right? Mutable signs encourage change. Most of the time when you see mutable signs, people get married on mutable signs and stuff like that, it's indicating that the relationship is going to change, especially in the future. Okay, that's why it's very important to get married on the right day. Okay, you get married on the wrong day, I'm telling you right now, it's over. Okay, it's over from the beginning. And in this case, their relationship was over from the beginning. They didn't get married on a good day. They took their wedding vows on one day and had the actual ceremony on another, which is good, but it was just wrong timing. Okay, so just quickly look at it. The sun is in Taurus at 22 degrees, and we got the nodes right here at 23 degrees of Leo, and that's the south node, and then we got the north node at 23 degrees of Aquarius. So that's a T-square with the sun already. All right. Now, of course, we can say Venus is in there. That's a wide square. I wouldn't count it, but some people still count it. But the orb is it's out of reach. I mean, I would say that. I mean, 6 degree, 8 degree orb. It's a little out of reach, but some people still give it energy. Okay. But you can't say that. It's square too. So you got a T-square going on right there. All right. That's when they took their vows. All right. So just think about that. Also, Juno. That's another thing. Juno is retrograde. Okay. You don't never want to get married or take your vows when Juno is retrograde. When Juno is retrograde, Juno represents marriages and partnerships and stuff like that. So it's retrograde. So it's going backwards. The energy is going backwards with that. And then you got it squaring Uranus. Uranus rules what? Infidelity when it comes to relationships. So that's squaring a relationship asteroid, okay? And it's in Pisces, which rules cheating. There you go. So we know when they took their vows, it was messed up. All right. So just keep that in mind. Also, the moon was squaring the sun as well. Okay. All right, so that's just when they took their vow. So we see right there that hey, it was doomed from the jump. Now let's just go to the actual wedding day. Okay, now what was going on during the actual wedding day? That was also a bad time, right? All right, so again, here we go with the nodes. Okay, and you know what? Going back to the vows, look, you got the south node in Leo at 23 degrees. That's loyalty, right? So loyalty is not there. And then again, the north node is in Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius rules what? Uranus, which rules infidelity. So just keep that in mind. I just want to go back. I meant to tell you that. All right, so now here we go with, of course, the wedding day, the actual ceremony, right? And they did it separate on December 17, 2015. All right, at least that's what it said. Look at the nodes again. It's squaring the sun. You got the sun at 25 degrees of Sagittarius. And look, keep in mind the Sagittarius thing. Okay, that's freedom. Okay, yeah, they got freedom in their relationship, but it comes at a cost, right? You got to have boundaries. So that's freeing because Jupiter is involved, right? So that's freeing up of something. All right. Now it's actually squaring Jupiter. Okay, the sun is squaring Jupiter and the north node and the south node. So, Jupiter rules luck. So they're not going to have any luck, right, in this marriage, going forward, because somebody wants to be free, isn't it? That's indication somebody wants to be free, right? Remember what I said about mutable signs, okay? So Sagittarius is a mutable sign, and that's indicating a change. Somebody wants some changes going on in the relationship, right? After they get married. So, and that's what happened, okay? Somebody changed. She did. She changed her mind. Gemini again, right? She changed her mind. Her Mercury's in Gemini. She changed her mind about it, okay? Um, so, you got that going on. Does it have longevity? Where's the Saturn? Is it 9 degrees of Sag? There we go again with the Sag, with the freeing up, right? It's squaring Neptune, okay? It's squaring Neptune at 7, separating aspect, but still, hey, it's still squaring. It is squaring the moon right here. So they got a lot of squares going on. All right. So you don't want to have too many squares. That's the problem. It's just too many squares. Now, I can tell you right now what really did it. All right. You know what? Also, Juno, that's creating a semi-square with the sun on that day. That's another thing. Juno's all about, again, it's all about marriages, partnerships. That's squaring the sun on that day. All right. So what really did it, though, what really put the nail in the coffin for him was the solar eclipse that occurred in April 30th of last year, April 30th, 2022. All right. That's what kind of put the nail in the coffin. And the reason was because that eclipse, okay, solar eclipses are very important, okay? It was a direct hit, okay? Which means it was absolute. The degree was absolute. It was at the same degree as a planet or asteroid in the natal chart, okay? So the solar eclipse occurred at 10 degrees of Taurus on April 30th, 2022. Okay? When that happened, that squared, okay, it was a entire stellium as well. The eclipse squared her natal Juno at 10 degrees of Leo. Okay? Leo rules loyalty, okay? Loyalty in the marriage, okay? Because Juno rules marriages. It's in her natal chart. It's in Leo at 10 degrees. The eclipse was at 10 degrees of Taurus. So you got a square going on right here. I mean, it's a huge square. It's a direct hit. So this event it's going to happen. When you got a square like that, the event has to happen, okay? Especially with the solar eclipse. Solar eclipses are very, very powerful, and they're very important. I use it all the time as a predictive tool. Had I seen this earlier, through last year, if I was focused in on them, or if they would have called me, I would have, I would have told them how to get around it. But it's inevitable. This was inevitable. Okay. Now the eclipse was making a conjunction to Uranus at 14 degrees. Okay. So of course Uranus rules what? Infidelity. Again, we got that going on. Okay, the nodes were squaring her natal nodes, okay? The transiting nodes, which was, in general, is the solar eclipse nodes, okay? They're also squaring, okay, her natal nodes. So she got that going on in her chart, okay? So in her chart, this eclipse was just devastating, okay? And keep this in mind. You had Jupiter and Venus in Pisces and also Neptune in Pisces. These planets were all squaring her natal Mercury. Okay, so see, at this point, she had reached the point of inevitability. She had already changed her mind about the marriage. Okay, after this day. All right, it was done. Okay, it was done after that. Okay, so she had already changed her mind. She'd already understood. She understood that she didn't want to be in the marriage anymore after this. Okay, because with that square right there, and the decade that Jupiter and Venus and Neptune are in, they are in a Pluto decadent. Okay, so and Pluto rules death, destruction, basically the end. Okay, so she had already planned on ending the marriage anyway after this eclipse. So this eclipse really put the nail in the coffin for him, unfortunately. Okay, so you know, um, like I say, all relationships have an expiration date, and once this eclipse hit, that was it for him. The time was just ticking. The clock was just ticking down from this point, okay? Because this was a direct hit. Solar eclipses, the energy. If it's a direct hit, the event is going to occur within a year. Sometimes it occurs immediately, like months out. But this occurred, some months out. Or you could say a year, yeah. Eclipses last up to 3 years. Solar eclipses that last up to 3 years. But if it's a direct hit, or if it's absolute like this, the event is going to occur immediately, and this event is going to be a divorce, unfortunately. Okay, because there's her mind is made up. Okay, the planetary alignments of this eclipse made her mind up. Okay, also the eclipse. It's making a conjunction to her natal Chiron, okay? And of course, Chiron rules, it rules a lot of things, but it rules turning points in your life, okay? So just keep that in mind. It does rule turning points, and this is a turning point, all right? So this entire relationship is going to be a turning point for her. What's going on with it is going to be a turning point. But she has to learn a lesson. She's taken love for granted, right? And this is something that I kind of miss, but I'm pointing out right now. And I want you guys to listen to this. You got Lilith right here. Okay, Lilith is at 1 degree of Cancer. Okay. Lilith has the ability, it represents the ability to create or the ability to destroy. Okay. It is, during the eclipse, it is sitting right on top of her Venus. Okay. So remember what we talked about when we talked about her Venus. So this is destroying her love. It's not going to create love. This is going to destroy it. Okay. It's going to take away her love. So like I said, this eclipse right here, it put the nail in the coffin with their relationship, unfortunately, okay? So just keep that in mind. Just a lot going on with it. So we're just going to sit back and enjoy the show, unfortunately. Will they, get back together? Probably not. Papoose, he wants it real bad, but she's already made up her mind, guys, okay? And you can see from this eclipse, she has made up her mind already, unfortunately, okay? The trust is not there anymore, okay? Once you break a person's trust, there's no relationship, okay? And this eclipse has really, decimated the relationship, unfortunately. Look at this. I mean, it's so many things to point out. You even got Mars right here in Pisces making a conjunction to her part of fortune on this particular day that the eclipse hit. I mean, it's still so many points that, and Mars rules cutting and breakage. This is breaking. And who's a Pisces here? We know Papoose is a Pisces, right? So, I mean, that's just another indicator of what's going on here, So you got Saturn. You got Saturn right here in Aquarius. That's in opposition of her natal North Node. And the North Node is all about the future, right? That Saturn's all about restriction. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Like I said, it's a lot to unpack. I want to prolong the video, but you guys like and subscribe. I'm gonna have more on them, but I wanted to show you guys how things occurred, how things happened and occurred when it came to them, okay, and why things are happening the way it's happening right now. Papoose is gonna be okay. He's gonna be a little lonely next year, but because he's going into like a, numerically he's going into like a 7 year. Okay, so that can make him. He's going to be doing a lot of thinking. He's he's going to feel alone even though he's not. But and she's going into like a 66. She's going into like some master number type stuff. So, but right now she's operating on a lower vibration of that 2 energy, unfortunately, which rules relationships. So she is having those issues. And right now he's in a 6 year right now, which rules family. So he's dealing with a lot of family stuff, as you can see, right? So everything's adding up numerically as well. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it for right now for Remy Ma and Papoose. Right now, probably going through some custody things right now. So I can tell you that. That's why, at least that's what I kind of saw in the chart. But we'll come back to it. You guys like and subscribe again, and I will get back with you guys next time.